Multi-threading models, today's topic. Um, so, from the previous classes, we have known that there are two types of threads which run in a computer system, and one is user thread, and the other one is kernel thread. So user threads are threads at the user level. That means the process or the applications which is run by the user. Basically, these applications creates user threads. So these threads are at the user level, and the second type of threads are the kernel threads. So these threads are managed by the operating system. So um, in order for a application or a program to run, so these two types of threads are mandatory. So actually these threads handles different tasks which are associated with the applications. So without these two types of threads, we cannot execute, or the program cannot be executed inside the computer system. So these two types of threads plays a important role in executing the application. So one thread is, like I said, one thread is the user thread, and the other one is the kernel thread. So user threads are handled or managed at the user side, and the kernel threads are managed by the operating system. Understand? So you can see here, these user threads are handled by three types of libraries. One is POSIX threads, Windows threads, and Java threads. So these are the three types of libraries which manage the user threads. And the kernel threads are, as I said, are managed by the operating systems and supported by the various operating systems like Windows, Solaris, Linux, Unix, and Mac OS. So these two are mandatory thing. Understand? So without these two threads, we cannot run a program. Right. So with this in mind, we will continue our class. So when we have two types of threads, so there has to be a relation between these two threads, user thread and the kernel thread. So without the interaction between these two threads, or without any relation between these two threads, a program cannot be executed. Or we can say it in this way: in order to execute a program, user thread and the kernel thread has to interact, or they has to be in a they has to be related with each other. So in that case only a program can be executed. Now, talking about the relationship between the user thread and the kernel thread, there are three types of relationship which we can observe. One is many to one relationship between the what we say user thread and the kernel thread. We call it as a many to one model. And the second one is one to one model, and third one is many to many model. So basically these are the type of relations, or the relationship type between user thread and the kernel thread. So we will see one by one and how they are going to affect the program execution. So let's start with the first model, which is many to one model. Okay, so before explaining, or before reading this, I want to explain about this diagram. See, you can see the blue color strings which you are seeing. Actually, these are the threads. We call them as a user thread. And we have one kernel thread which is in a circular form. And you can see the relationship between four user threads and one kernel threads. So this is called as many to one model, or many user threads are connected to one kernel thread, or many user threads are connected to one kernel thread. So what will happen? So this is the actual structure, or the way the threads are connected to this, the topology. We can say it as a topology of the many to one model. So many user threads are connected to the single kernel thread, right? So what are the advantages we have, and what are the disadvantages we can see in this model? Let us see this one. The many to one model maps many user level threads to one kernel thread. Thread management is done by the thread library in user space, so it is efficient. So this diagram clearly explains the many to one model. So we have many, that means we more than one. You can have more than one user thread which are linked to the one kernel thread. However, the entire process will block if a thread makes a blocking system call. Okay, now let's see what are the drawbacks of this one, or what actually, let me explain what actually happens in this process. So what happens is, each and every thread here will try to access the one kernel thread, and only one thread can access one kernel thread at a time. So if the thread one is accessing the kernel thread, the remaining thread should be in an idle state. Understand? And after that execution is finished, then that control is given to the second thread. So in this way, the execution process takes place. So basically, all these threads will um, use the single thread by simply using the concept of time sharing, or giving a time slots for using this kernel thread. Understand? So this is how it is done. Now let's see what are the drawbacks of this one. Suppose if this thread has blocked this kernel by giving the blocked system call, that means it is holding this kernel uh, thread by throwing a block system call. Then what will happen is, the remaining threads will also be in a block state. That means they cannot access the kernel thread, because right now it is in block stage. So that is one drawback of this many to one model. Okay, you can see here, however, the entire process will block if a thread makes a blocking system call, right? If it so to be keep it in a simple words, if it blocks this kernel, then the remaining threads will be also in a blocked state, or they cannot process further. Also, because only one thread can access the kernel at a time, multiple threads are unable to run in a parallel or on multi-core systems. So we cannot use this many to one model in multi-core systems. We can use them, but that multi-core architecture is not used efficiently, because multiple threads are using only single kernel, that means single core. Understand? So the remaining cores will be a waste, right? So when we have this concept of many to one model, so that means many threads are trying to use only single thread, then the multi-core concept or multi-core architecture is not used efficiently. Understand why? Because we have only one kernel thread here. But okay, so we can call it as we have only one core. So even the multi-core system has more than one core, but this model can access only one core. So the remaining cores, or the remaining operational part will be a waste. Understand? So this model cannot effectively or efficiently use the multi-core system architecture, right? So green threads, a thread library available for Solaris systems and adopted in early versions of Java, use the many to one model. So the Solaris operating system uh, used this model, many to one model. Okay, and I think right now it is not using this model. Previously, it used to uh, uh, use this many to one model, but right now I think Solaris is not using this one. However, very few systems continue to use the model because of its inability to take advantage of multiple processing cores. Yeah, just now I said because of this many to one concept. So most of the operating systems are not using this many to one model because most of the architectures right now are multi-core processors. That means there are many cores available right now. So this model cannot use that multi-core process effectively. That's why this model is seldom used nowadays. So most of the operating system use other models. They don't use many to one model. So I hope you understood this one. In many to one model, many user threads tries to access the single kernel thread. Let's move on to the next model, that is one to one model. Okay, you can see one user thread is associated or linked with the one kernel thread. Okay, this is how it looks like. So the relationship between the user thread and the kernel thread is 1 to 1. So one kernel is allocated to the one kernel thread is allocated to the one user thread. Okay, this seems simple, right? Okay, let's try to learn more about this one-to-one model. The one-to-one model maps each user thread to a kernel thread. Like we are seeing here, each user thread is mapped to the each kernel thread. It provides more concurrency than many-to-one model by allowing another thread to run when a thread makes a blocking system call. So blocking system call was the drawback in many to one model, isn't it? So when a user thread uh, throws a blocking system call, or when calls it a blocking a system call, then the remaining threads will also be in a idle state. They cannot access the kernel thread. But in this case, even if one thread um, run a blocking system call, the remaining threads will run as it is, because they are not affected by some other thread calling a blocking system call. Why? Because each thread here has mapped with the each one kernel thread. So even if this thread blocks this kernel, so nothing will happen to the remaining threads. Why? Because they have their own kernel threads to execute. So they are independent of the other threads. So the program execution runs as usual. Okay, in spite of this thread calling us block system call. Got it? So it also allows multiple threads to run in parallel on multi-processors. So this model can use this multi-processor concept or multi-core concept very efficiently. Okay, why? Because we have multiple user threads. At the same time, we have multiple kernel threads also. So each pair or each user thread and kernel thread can use one core to execute the for the execution process. Understand? So we suppose if we are using a quad core, that means if our system has four cores. Understand? Now we have four pairs of user thread and kernel thread. So these four threads can be allocated to the four cores of the processor or 4 processors. Understand? That means this one-to-one model can be if can use this multi-core concept very efficiently. Understand? Okay, so right. The only drawback to this model is that creating a user thread requires creating the corresponding kernel thread. Because the overhead of creating kernel threads can burden the performance of the application, most applications of this model restrict the number of threads supported by the system. So the drawback in this model is whenever a user thread is created, a kernel thread should also be created. The respective kernel thread should also be created. So creating kernel threads for each and every user thread is a very tedious task. That means it's a very tough task. It will increase burden on the operating system or the processor. Understand? So whenever a thread is user thread is created, the operating system has to generate a kernel thread. So creating or generating a kernel thread every time for every user thread will have some burden on the performance of the application. Suppose if the application has 100 user threads, so the operating system has to create 100 kernel threads. Understand? So creating kernel threads is obviously a burden, and it will affect the performance of the applications. So ultimately, what will happen is at some point, what will happen? The application will be exhausted. The application will cannot able to run the cannot able to run properly. So slowly the application's execution speed will be decreased. Why? Because it is taking a lot of burden. It is taking lot of effort to create the kernel threads. Understand? So that's why the performance of the application may be reduced. Okay, so that is the only drawback of this one-to-one model. And Linux, along with the family of Windows operating systems, implement the one-to-one model. Okay, now this model is adopted or used by various versions of Windows operating systems and Linux operating systems also. Understand? So if this the only the if only the drawback of this creation of kernel is taken care, then this model is very good and very effective in running an application. So if the operating systems can take care of this burden, then this is the best model the operating systems can have. Okay, so the only drawback is the creation of kernel threads. So that's it. And the last model is the many to many model. Okay, here many user threads are linked or mapped with the many kernel threads. So there may be equal number of user threads and the kernel threads, or the kernel threads may be lesser than the user threads. But what will happen is there will be a multiplexing happening between the user threads and the kernel threads. You can see in this first diagram here, in this first part. So we have 4 user threads which are mapped with the 3 kernel threads. And here this is called multiplexing. So multiplexing is nothing but linking with the kernel thread. So here um, the process of scheduling the threads or the decision of which user thread has to access the which kernel thread will happen here. This basically the multiplexing means some operations will done, some calculations will be done, and based on the result, a user thread is allocated to the particular kernel thread, or kernel thread is allocated to the particular user thread. So basically addition making happens here. So based on this one, the threads are allocated to the kernel threads. Okay, so at first instance, this this thread may access this kernel. Okay, after some time, this may access this kernel thread. Okay, so it is not so it is not like that this thread will access only this kernel thread. So the control will move back to other thread. That is called as multiplexing. So they can switch from one kernel thread to another kernel thread. So in this way, all the four threads here will use the available kernel threads here. So one, they will switch from one kernel thread to another kernel threads. So basically what happens is all the four threads here can use any of the kernel threads here. So this is called as many to many model. Like I said, um, there can be equal number of user threads and equal number of kernel threads. That depends on the application which is running currently right now, or the computer architecture. Okay, the application will decide how many kernels has to be created. Understand? And let's read out this one. The many to many model multiplexes many user level threads to a smaller or a equal number of kernel threads. So you can see here many user threads are being mapped or multiplexed with equal number or a smaller number of kernel threads. So there is no direct one-to-one relation here. Okay, but all are connected to some or the other kernel threads here. The number of kernel threads may be specific to either a particular application or a particular machine. See, like I said, how many kernel threads should be created, that depends on the application which is running. So the application may create equal number of kernel threads. Okay, um, as the equal number of kernel threads compared to these user threads. Okay, or it can create a lesser number of kernel threads, okay, than these user threads. That depends on the application running or the computer system architecture. Developers can create as many user threads as necessary, and corresponding kernel threads can run in parallel on a multi processor. Yes, so the here in this model, the developer or the application or the programmer who is running the application can create as many user threads as possible, because there are more than one kernel thread which is there, which are there, and those kernel threads can be used. Understand? So when there are more than one kernel threads, then the multi-processing or multi processing mechanism uh, can be used very effectively. So there is no restriction here. Understand? So whenever the user creates what we say the whenever the programmer or the developer creates a user thread, so there is at least one kernel thread available to access. Okay, so unlike the previous model one to one, there is no burden, that there is no compulsory what we say condition that if a user thread is created, then a respective kernel thread should be created. So there is no rule like that. Okay, so in this model, almost equal kernel threads are available with respect to the user threads. So there is no burden involved here. So the developer can create as many user threads as possible. And the fourth point is also when a thread performs a blocking system call, the kernel can schedule another thread for execution. So this was the drawback which we saw in the first model, that is many to one model. The blocking system call drawback. So here there is no problem, there is no such problem of blocking system call, because if one thread blocks a kernel, then there are another kernel threads available, so that the other user threads can access or can be mapped with the other kernel threads. So there is no blockage of all the user threads here. So this many to many model has given a solution for this two drawbacks which we have seen in model, a many to one model and one to one model. So far uh, it is more effective than the other two models. And one variation on the many to many model still multiplexes many user level threads to a smaller or equal number of kernel threads, but also allows the user level thread to be bound to a kernel thread. This variation is sometimes referred to as two level mode. Okay. Sometimes what happens is in many to many model, most of the user threads are multiplexed with the kernel threads. Okay, most of the user threads are multiplexed with the kernel threads, like you are seeing here. Okay, but in some cases, for some particular threads or the threads which have more priority, in that case, what will happen is a separate kernel thread is mapped to a user thread. Now this is called as the two level model. So at one level, multiplexing happens, and at the other level, one to one will happen. So combinedly, it is called as the two level model. So basically, two level model happens in many to many model. Okay, understand? So that depends on the user thread. If the user thread is a priority thread, that means it has to be processed very quickly and without any interruptions. Then what operating system will do is it will allocate a dedicated kernel thread to a user thread, so that no disturbance will occur in processing this thread. Okay, now this when we combine these together, we call it as a two level model. Okay, the Solaris operating system supported the two level model in versions older than Solaris 9. So again, this Solaris operating system uses this two level, what we say, two level model, where the various user threads models are mapped with the, sorry, user threads are mapped with the kernel threads. Okay, so based on the discussions, right, based on the topics which we have seen till now, what we can understand is most of the operating systems which are currently running uses sorry, one-to-one technique or one-to-one model, even though they have it has a drawback of this creating kernel threads burden. So, but still, the most of the operating system uses one-to-one kernel thread. Okay, right. So these are the different multi-threading models which are there in operating system. Okay, I hope you understood. So let me